Ever feel like you're completely stuck? Like every ounce of effort you put in just doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
It reminds me of this crazy story about Aaron Ralston.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of him.
He was mountain climbing, right?
Yeah, wasn't he trapped by a boulder or something?
That's the one. He was 28 years old, climbing in Blue John Canyon, when this massive 1,000-pound boulder shifts and pins his hand against the canyon wall.
No.
No kidding. He was trapped there for 126 hours.
126 hours. That's over 5 days.
I know, it's mind-blowing. He tried everything to free himself, pulling, twisting, even yelling for help. But that boulder wasn't budging an inch.
So what happened? Did someone eventually find him?
Well, yeah, but not before he made a truly desperate decision.
What do you mean?
Well, as his situation grew more and more dire, he had this realization. It wasn't just the boulder that was holding him captive. It was his own hand.
His own hand.
Yeah, it was the obstacle.
Yeah.
The thing preventing him from breaking free.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful realization.
It is. And it led him to do something incredible and honestly pretty terrifying. He used a dull pocket knife to amputate his own hand.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a brutal decision, but it ultimately saved his life.
It's amazing what the human spirit can endure when faced with extreme circumstances.
And that's what we're going to be exploring in today's deep dive. The things that hold us back, those things that keep us from moving forward in life.
The things that are maybe a little less dramatic than a 1,000-pound boulder, but still have a powerful grip on us.
Right. We've been looking at some of Sonu Sharma's work, and he talks about these 5 common habits that act like a handbrake on our potential.
A handbrake, huh?
Yeah. These are those internal barriers, those patterns of thought and behavior that often operate under the radar but exert a ton of drag on our progress.
It's so easy to get caught up in those patterns without even realizing it.
Absolutely. So we're going to break down each of these habits, look at why they're so limiting, and discuss how to start cutting them off.
So we can finally release that handbrake and start moving forward. I like it.
Exactly. Are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay. Habit number 1 is this tendency to wait for help.
Waiting for help.
Yeah. This is the belief that someone else will come to our rescue, that someone else will fix our problems for us.
I see. It's like that classic saying, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
Exactly. Sonu Sharma puts it even more bluntly. Don't wait for help. Shoulders are for the dead, the living keep moving.
Shoulders are for the dead. Wow, that's a little morbid, but I get the point.
It's about taking initiative, about realizing that we have the power to create change in our own lives.
So how do we actually put this into practice? How do we stop waiting for someone else to save the day?
Well, it's about recognizing when we're falling into that trap and then consciously choosing to take action. To illustrate this, let's look at the story of Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda Motor Company.
Honda, huh? Yeah, they're a pretty big deal now.
They are. But back in 1937, Honda was just a cycle mechanic in Japan, struggling to get his piston ring company off the ground.
So like humble beginnings.
Very humble. He put everything he had into this business, but he needed more capital to expand. So he went around looking for investors, hoping someone would take a chance on him.
Yeah.
And he was met with rejection after rejection. Nobody believed in his vision. Nobody wanted to get involved.
Oof, that's rough.
It was. But instead of giving up, he made a decision. He decided that if no one else was going to help him, he would have to help himself.
What did he do?
He took the remaining equipment from his workshop, sold it, and used that money to start fitting small motors onto bicycles. It wasn't glamorous, but it allowed him to generate some income. And from there, he just kept building step by step until his small operation eventually became a full-fledged motorcycle factory.
So that initial act of taking initiative, of not waiting for help, essentially launched him on the path to creating a multi-billion-dollar company.
Exactly. And it's a powerful reminder for all of us. We can't sit around passively, hoping that someone else will magically solve our problems or hand us success on a silver platter.
We have to be willing to get our hands dirty, to put in the work, and to make things happen for ourselves.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to habit number 2. The fear of failure.
Ah, yes. The fear of failure. A universal experience.
It is. This is the fear that paralyzes us. The fear that keeps us from even trying because we're so afraid of not succeeding.
It's like we're constantly looking for a guarantee of success before we're even willing to take the first step.
Right. But the reality is, there are no guarantees in life. And the truth is, failure is often the foundation for success.
Failure is the foundation. How so?
Well, think about it. Every time we fail, we learn something. We gain valuable experience that we can then apply to our future endeavors.
That makes sense. It's like that saying, you either win or you learn.
Exactly. And sometimes the most successful people are the ones who have failed the most. Take Michael Jordan, for example.
Michael Jordan, as in the basketball legend.
The one and only. He once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed."
Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement coming from someone who's considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
It is, and it highlights this important point. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a necessary part of the journey.
It's like those setbacks, those mistakes, those moments where we fall short, they're actually the things that help us grow and improve.
Right. And this applies to so many areas of life, not just sports. Take Walt Disney, for example. His early years were filled with setbacks and failures. His first animation studio went bankrupt. He faced numerous rejections, but he didn't let those experiences define him.
He kept going, kept creating, and eventually he built an empire.
And then there's Steve Jobs. He was actually fired from Apple, the company he co-founded.
Fired from his own company. Talk about a major setback.
It was. But he didn't let that stop him. He went on to found another successful company, NextXT, and eventually he returned to Apple and led it to become one of the most valuable companies in the world.
So even in the face of what seems like a catastrophic failure, there's always a possibility for a comeback, for growth, for even greater success.
Absolutely. The key is to not let the fear of failure hold us back from pursuing our goals and dreams.
To embrace those setbacks as learning opportunities and to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Now let's move on to habit number 3. The belief that I can't do it.
I can't do it. I think we've all probably said that to ourselves at some point in our life.
We probably have. But the danger is when that belief becomes ingrained, when it starts to dictate our actions and limit our potential.
It's like we create this mental barrier for ourselves, this self-imposed limitation that prevents us from even trying.
And the crazy thing is sometimes the world might doubt us, but that's not the real problem. The real problem is when we start to doubt ourselves.
So it's not about what other people think. It's about what we believe about ourselves.
Exactly. The world will always have its opinions, and there will always be people who question our abilities. But if we believe in ourselves, if we have that inner conviction, then we can overcome those external doubts.
Okay, but how do we cultivate that belief in ourselves, especially when we're faced with challenges that seem insurmountable?
Well, one way is to focus on our past successes, to remind ourselves of what we've already accomplished. Another way is to surround ourselves with supportive people who believe in us and encourage us.
People who can help us see our own potential even when we might be struggling to see it ourselves.
Right. And to illustrate the power of overcoming this "I can't do it" mentality, let's look at the story of Jean-Dominique Bauby.
Jean-Dominique Bauby.
Yeah. He was a French journalist and editor who, at the age of 43, suffered a massive stroke that left him almost completely paralyzed. He could only blink his left eyelid.
That's unimaginable.
It is. But despite this incredibly challenging situation, he was determined to communicate. Using only his eyelid, he painstakingly dictated an entire book, letter by letter.
Wait, he wrote a whole book by blinking his eyelid?
He did. The book is called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, and it became an international bestseller.
That's absolutely incredible. It just goes to show that even in the face of what seem like impossible circumstances, the human spirit can find a way to persevere and create something truly remarkable.
It does, and it's a powerful reminder that we are capable of so much more than we often give ourselves credit for.
It's about challenging those limiting beliefs and asking ourselves, why not me? Why can't I do this?
Exactly. Now let's move on to habit number 4. The thought that it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that one.
They do. This is the feeling that if we haven't achieved certain things by a certain age, then the window of opportunity is closed.
Like we've missed the boat somehow.
Right. But the reality is, it's never too late to pursue our dreams, to learn new things, or to make a positive impact on the world.
There's no expiration date on personal growth or fulfillment.
And to illustrate this point, let's look at the story of Praveen Tambe, an Indian cricketer who made his professional debut at the age of 41.
41. That's pretty late to be starting a professional sporting career.
It is. He had spent years playing club cricket, but he never gave up on his dream of playing at a higher level. And eventually, his dedication and perseverance paid off when he was selected to play in the prestigious Indian Premier League.
So he finally got his chance to shine, even after all those years of waiting and working towards his goal.
He did. And it's a powerful reminder that it's never too late to achieve our dreams, no matter how much time has passed or what obstacles we've faced along the way.
It's about staying committed to our passions and believing in the possibility of success, regardless of our age or circumstances.
Exactly. And then there's the story of Ray Kroc, who bought McDonald's at the age of 52 and turned it into a global fast food empire.
52. Wow, that's even later than Pravintambe.
It is. And it just goes to show that life can take unexpected turns, that opportunities can arise at any age, and that it's never too late to make a significant impact on the world.
These stories are really inspiring. They remind us that we shouldn't let age or perceived limitations hold us back from pursuing our goals.
Exactly. Now let's move on to the fifth and final habit, being afraid of physical limitations.
Physical limitations, huh? That's a challenging one for many people.
It is. Whether it's a disability, an injury, or simply the effects of aging, physical limitations can make us feel like we're not capable of achieving certain things.
It's easy to let those limitations define us, to feel like they're holding us back from living a full and meaningful life.
But the truth is, our physical limitations don't have to dictate our potential. The body may be limited, but the spirit doesn't have to be.
So it's about finding ways to adapt and overcome those physical challenges, to not let them define our sense of what's possible.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, let's look at the story of Sudha Chandran, a renowned Indian classical dancer who lost her leg in a car accident.
Oh, wow. That must have been devastating for a dancer.
It was. But Sudha Chandran refused to let this tragedy define her. She was fitted with an artificial leg, and through sheer determination and years of practice, she learned to dance again.
She learned to dance again with an artificial leg.
She did, and she went on to have a highly successful career, performing all over the world and inspiring countless people with her resilience and her artistry.
That's incredible. It's a true testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most daunting obstacles.
It is. And it's a reminder that we all have the capacity to achieve great things, even when we're faced with physical limitations.
It's about finding ways to adapt, to innovate, and to never give up on our dreams, regardless of the challenges we might face.
Exactly. So there you have it. 5 habits that might be holding you back. Waiting for help, fearing failure, believing I can't do it, thinking it's too late, and being afraid of physical limitations.
5 pretty common, yet incredibly powerful obstacles that can prevent us from reaching our full potential.
They are. But by becoming aware of these habits, by understanding their impact on our lives, and by consciously choosing to overcome them, we can break free from their grip and start moving forward with purpose and confidence.
It's about taking ownership of our lives, embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, and cultivating a belief in our own ability to achieve great things.
Absolutely. So what do you say? Are you ready to cut off those handbrakes and start accelerating towards your goals?
I'm definitely feeling inspired. Let's do it.
Awesome. And remember, the journey might not always be easy. There might be bumps along the way. But the rewards of pushing past those limitations and achieving your dreams are well worth the effort.
It's about embracing the journey, learning from our mistakes, and never giving up on ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. And to everyone listening, remember, you've got this.
Absolutely. We believe in you. Now go out there and make it happen.
Make it happen.
And that's a wrap on today's deep dive. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll catch you next time.